What's up, y'all? It's Dr. David Roney. I hope everybody's doing well. Today is, day 10 of my personal challenge to post at least 31 straight days of videos to my YouTube account. I actually posted 2 yesterday. And so we keep going. Today, I just want to talk about equity, man. It's always on my mind. Right? Because when you grow up poor, you have no idea what equity is, right? Like, because you don't have any equity. You don't own shit, right? That's why you end up in poverty, right? You don't own anything. You don't have enough ownership, right? As you start to sort of go along your journey, you start to sort of look around and your basic needs are met, you kind of want to just start owning shit, right? And equity is the way to do it. If you really want to build wealth, equity is the way, right? Because whether it's a house, your own personal house, right? In retirement, majority of people's wealth is sort of locked up in their own personal home. That's like the majority of their retirement wealth. But it's equity, right? Ownership. Aisha Seldon on Twitter used to talk about it constantly, like own some shit, right? Like ownership, equity. So equity in the public stock market, it's kind of difficult, right? Because you're not getting a seat at the table. Equity is when you own something and you can decide, you can make a decision, you get a vote, right? Like there's a semblance of a vote, right? You'll get like these notifications, hey, do you want to vote on X, Y, and Z via proxy, or do you want to, because technically when you own shares, you can go to the company and vote on their issues. But your vote, in my opinion, doesn't really matter as much, like, especially because it can be like millions of shares out there and you might only own 10, right? That's not equity. That's just sort of passive, quote unquote, passive ownership. And it's not really ownership, it's in quotation marks. So equity, how do we get equity? Equity is like legitimately being an owner of a company, right? Some people talk about starting their own business, small, medium business, or SMB, right? Or buying real estate, that's how they own it, right? Or being like an angel investor, they have to play that lottery game, right? Like starting your own business is a risk, right? But a lot of people do it. If there's a great book called Buy Then Build, which I think is a good, really sort of blueprint on how to sort of think about things, how to like grow, and the ability to sort of get ownership, right? Get some equity. The majority of the people that I meet who are wealthy have equity in something, right? Whether if they work in the financial industry, they'll talk about how majority of their funds or their personal net worth is tied up in the investment funds or the investment company that they own or that they promote, whatever, right? Like that's equity. That's the point I'm trying to get to, right? Like equity isn't being an employee. Equity isn't being on a W-2 where you can't write off anything and you're getting screwed by taxes. Equity meaning ownership, right? And that's when the game starts to unlock of building wealth. So like I'm going to challenge you as you go along, like really trying to figure out what you can do to build equity, to get equity. Now, whether or not you decide that, hey, I'm going to go all in on real estate. That's all I care about is real estate. That's not a bad option, right? And the reason why I say it's not a bad option, because of the fact that real estate, for some reason in our country, we're allowed to use very high levels of leverage, right, in real estate. Because the thing about it is people always need homes, and the bank knows if they foreclose, they still have an asset underneath there, right? They can lower their risk because they can sort of sell it, right? Same thing with the small, medium business. Now, you have to be careful because if you take out an SBA loan, just know sometimes they want personal guarantees. And if you're buying a multi-million-dollar business that fails, guess what? Your ass is on the line. But equity, that should be always etched in your brain, right? Whenever you make an investment, right? Or like, hey, is this providing me equity? Equity grows. Equity is how you sort of can build wealth over time. Equity can be passed down, right? These are things that you really want to think about. Now, for people who don't care about any of this, they just want to punch the clock, be done. They just want to be, they're happy being an employee, dancing in daisies, whatever you want to talk about, and they just want to move on with their life and they don't want to think about any of this. That's absolutely fine. Me personally, I need to build equity because I need to sort of change the direction of all the generations that come after me. It's a goal of mine because I never want anyone growing up the way that I did. I don't want them having to worry about being homeless. I don't want them to worry about poverty. I don't want them to worry about having raisins, like roaches in their Raisin Bran. I don't even like Raisin Bran, but that's a hilarious story. So equity, we always got to think about, how do we build equity? Now, there are different options, right? You can angel invest, you can invest in sort of syndicates, right? Like there's syndicates on AngelList, but you have to be careful about those things. And the further along the risk curve you go, or the risk spectrum, in these high risk things, that's like venture capital, basically things that are backed by an idea, not necessarily a product, or things that haven't found product market fit. And by the way, product market fit just means that the product clearly has folks who want to buy it and pay for it because it fits a need, right? And you can consistently do that and you can show. So that's essentially product market fit. But your whole goal should be to gain equity, right? Whether you're, again, along the risk curve, you're in venture capital, like those returns that are high, but it's the more and more people pile into that, the returns are going to start to come down. But figure it out, man. Figure out how to get equity, and you can just build it slowly over time. Like, again, run your own race. You don't have to do this overnight. Equity, equity, equity. That should be your goal in everything that you do. Every investment you make, you got to ask yourself, is this getting me equity? If not, it might not be the right thing for you. Okay? Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. Have a blessed day. Please remember to hit that like and subscribe button. And remember, this is the 10th day of 31 straight videos that I am posting to YouTube. I did 2 yesterday, but 1 today, possibly the second one, depending on how I feel, of trying to get consistent because I haven't been able to have enough time to write on my Substack or blog. Anyway, talk to you later. Peace.